Alright guys, this is probably going to be one of the few times you see me rant, but this just pissed me off so much. And the reason it pissed me off is because I am passionate about this series. And I just hate the fact that so many fans are letting this just slide and covering it under bullshit excuses. But what am I talking about? Okay, look, Dragon Quest XI looks amazing. Everything has been looking stellar. I can't wait for the game. I mean, one of my friends who actually knows Japanese, he actually got the game, the Japanese version. I saw him play it. It looks amazing. The one thing I fucking hated since day one was the music. Now, it's not Sugiyama's score. I love Sugiyama's score. I've always loved the Dragon Quest soundtracks. I've played Dragon Quests 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm in the middle of 6, and I played 8. I've loved every single soundtrack that I've heard this man produce. The music itself is not the problem. It's the shitty-ass quality Nintendo PlayStation 1 music quality that's in this game. It's unacceptable. First of all, I just want to say, when this game came out in Japan, the orchestrated soundtrack should have already been released with the game. Dragon Quest deserves to have, first of all, that music that Sugiyama produces, for my money, is probably some of the best music that any video games have ever gotten in history, in my opinion. That music deserves to be orchestrated, and that's what we got with at least the North American version of Dragon Quest VIII. It's definitely something that we should get for this release. That music should deserve to get orchestrated. That is what Dragon Quest deserves. It deserves to have an orchestrated soundtrack. Now, what really pisses me off about some fans is that they're letting this slide under the bullshit excuse of, oh, it's just traditional. This is the way Dragon Quest is. Okay, like I said before, I know what Dragon Quest is, and I understand that there's tradition to Dragon Quest. Having shitty-ass quality for your music is not something that you can hide behind your traditional thing. No, it is not. To all of you defending the subpar quality of this music under the grounds that it's traditional, well, first of all, I want to ask you guys, if it's really that traditional, why isn't it the fact that this game is in 3D and not in 2D? Why is it even bothering with upgrading and adding some new mechanics? Because I've seen a lot of this game, considering I've seen my friend play it, I know that there's new mechanics such as the characters working together in team attacks. There's like a new skill upgrade tree and all that. There's like a skill board, something that I don't think has been in previous main installments of Dragon Quest. If it's really all just keeping it like the way it's always been, obviously, why add these things in? I'll tell you why. It's for us, because it doesn't matter whether or not Dragon Quest holds on to tradition, which it does, and that's why we all love it. It also adds things to facilitate our contemporary tastes. Okay? That's every game does this nowadays. It fills in our contemporary tastes. So no, you cannot hide behind this traditional excuse, guys. I'll tell you the real reason why there is no orchestrated soundtrack in this game. The one reason, and I guess this is the least egregious, is there might be some licensing issues, which when I think about it a little bit more is ridiculous. How can a game's own soundtrack have licensing issues to put its own orchestrated version into the game? And this one just pisses me off the most if it's true, and it's just simply stinginess. Just forcing fans to buy the soundtrack just to hear an orchestrated version, to hear a version of this soundtrack being played by real instruments, and the only reason it's not in the game is just for fans to be forced into purchasing the soundtrack, which is complete bullshit. Okay? Every game there's been games all throughout gaming history that of course have had different renditions in soundtracks or had CD releases that were different from the game, but the actual game music has always been representative in the actual game itself. You didn't have to go and purchase the soundtrack to actually hear the good version of the soundtrack that was in the freaking game you purchased in the first place. Whenever I look at the visuals of this game, and it's all updated for 2018. Obviously, that's not traditional at all. I mean, the aesthetics of this game look absolutely great. It looks like a game that was made for this current generation of systems. When I look at that and I look at the quality and the care that has gone into that, and then I hear what's coming from my speakers, I hear the sound, the music, and it's as if the music is completely out of place. It's as if the music is coming from 1999, not from 2018. There's a huge disconnect, and I've always this is how I always felt ever since the Japanese release of it. There's just a huge disconnect for me that there's these awesome visuals, you know, these visuals that are by no means quote unquote traditional, you know, traditional in that excuse sense of the word. And don't get me wrong, guys, there's definitely real Dragon Quest tradition, but this isn't one of them. The only reason I'm so angry about this is because I love Sugiyama's soundtracks. I love his music. And if in Dragon Quest 11 I'm going to be playing it to PS1 quality, you know, music here, you're pretty much not giving the music its justice, okay? It just angers me. If it's all because of stinginess, it makes me even angrier, because Dragon Quest honestly deserves better. Anyway, guys, that's just me, Blackenfist, and yeah, I know I was angry in this one. I'm out.